My biggest challenge is not killing someone. It is convincing the person I am going to kill that I am normal. I can become your friend, your neighbor, your colleague. Then you might invite me into your home, introduce me to your family, and I would feel very good about it. Or maybe that wouldn't happen. Maybe we would simply become good friends. And I am very good at making people my friends, because it is my habit. And when you become comfortable with me, when you start feeling that you know me, then I will show you my real face. Wait, I'm not a serial killer. What you just saw and heard was only a mindset of how serial killers think. To make this video, I spent many days studying serial killers. I watched documentaries, movies, podcasts, and everything I saw and heard was extremely shocking. And then I realized something. Monsters are not born. They are made after they are born. According to the FBI, a person who kills at least 3 people at different times because of a psychological reason is called a serial killer. You cannot simply call every murderer a serial killer, even if they have killed 100 people, because the difference is the motive. If someone kills 100 people in a single blast, they would be a mass murderer. If someone kills people during a gang war, they would be a criminal. But a serial killer kills people for psychological satisfaction. They commit one murder. Then they wait for some time. Then they look for another victim. Then a third. Every murder becomes a source of pleasure for them. And that is the most disturbing part. Javed Iqbal, Lahore, killed 100 children. He would lure children into his house by offering them lollipops and games. Then he would burn their bodies in acid and throw them into the river. Jeffrey Dahmer, America, killed 12 young men. He pretended to be a photographer. Then he would invite people to his home. He cut their bodies into pieces, kept their meat frozen in his refrigerator, and even ate human flesh. Ted Bundy, America, killed more than 30 young women. He attracted people with his charming looks and smile. He would pretend to be injured, and when a woman got into his car to help him, he would reveal his real face. What I have told you about these serial killers is only 5%, because there are people in this world who are even more brutal and merciless, whose methods of killing can make your soul tremble. But why do these people become like this? They are human beings just like us. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, everything is the same. But then why? Who is responsible for turning them into this? University in the UK conducted a research study called Fatal Programming and Stress Response. They studied pregnant women, and according to the research, a child can begin experiencing stress even before entering this world. And this was a very shocking finding. Think about it yourself. A child who has not even entered this world, who does not even have the ability to think yet, how can that child experience stress? When a mother goes through extreme stress or trauma, her body releases a hormone called cortisol. It is a stress hormone that directly affects the baby's brain. Because of this, the child may not remain normal after birth. Researchers at University tracked these children for many years, 3 years, then 10 years, and into their teenage years, and the results they found were extremely shocking. Mostly, these children showed some kind of lack of feeling or emotion. In other words, they could not feel their own pain or the pain of others. They could show extreme reactions over small things, have anger issues, and other problems. And when the brain scans of a stress-born baby and a normal baby were compared, researchers found significant differences between the 2 brains. Then the researchers at University said one thing: the 9 months in the womb can determine the next 90 years of life. Prenatal stress is not just a risk factor, it's a programming mechanism. A programming mechanism means that the child is being programmed even before birth. How will they think? Will they think at all? How will they feel? Will they feel anything? Everything? And these symptoms are the biggest main cause of someone becoming a serial killer. Some serial killers are sexually or physically abused during childhood by members of their own family. Because of this, they may begin to believe that perhaps the entire world is like this. Their ability to feel someone else's pain, or even their own pain, can disappear, and after several years, they may become serial killers. In 1936, in Ukraine, a child named Andrei Chikatilo was born. It was a time of war. People were dying from starvation. And Chikatilo was also born into a home where people had to struggle just to find food. When he was 8 years old, his mother told him something. He had an older brother named Stefan, who had supposedly been eaten by people during the famine. Cannibalism means eating human flesh. This can happen under two circumstances, either because of extreme starvation or because a person has a psychopathic nature. And during that period, this was very common. People ate other human beings simply to survive. Chikatilo's father returned from World War II. He was broken, angry, and depressed. Because of this, there was violence inside his home. When Chikatilo left his home and went to school, children bullied him and called him an old woman because he wore glasses and was very shy. His childhood was filled with starvation, poverty, and psychological trauma, and he grew up in those circumstances. He became middle class. He was intelligent in his studies. He became a teacher. He got married. He had 2 children. From the outside, he looked completely normal, but inside, he had become a monster. He discovered this one evening in 1978 when he saw one of his students, a girl only around 9 or 10 years old, named Lena, standing at a bus stop. Using his personality as a teacher, he told her, "Child, I will take you home." The girl was innocent. She trusted him, and after that, the monster did something to that child that is not even worth describing. He killed the girl so brutally that when the investigators examined the case, they became physically sick. In this same case, police arrested an innocent local man. But the real killer was Andrei Chikatilo, who was walking around freely. Because he was a teacher, he had built a very respectable personality. Because of that, nobody suspected him. In the same way, he returned to his teaching life, and eventually people forgot about the case. But Chikatilo could not control himself for long, because the pleasure he experienced from killing that girl made him want to experience it again. 2 years passed. Chikatilo's patience finally broke, and he went hunting again. He mostly targeted children and young women, people who were alone at bus stops or railway stations. He would manipulate them with his words, impress them with his fake personality, take them into a forest, and sexually assault and murder them. Now this had become a habit. As he continued killing children and women, his experience increased and his fear decreased. He would remove the eyes of his victims because he believed that if he left their eyes behind, the victim's spirit would follow him. From this alone, you can understand how psychologically disturbed he was. The killings did not stop. Police continuously found bodies and human remains in the forests. This was extremely shocking for the police because, at that time, the idea of someone like a serial killer was not something they were prepared for. Chikatilo continued escaping suspicion by using his well-known and respectable personality. That was why it seemed almost impossible for anyone to suspect him. By then, he had killed around 30 people. In 1984, Chikatilo was arrested in connection with a sexual assault case. But the forensic laboratory recorded his blood type as type A, while his semen sample was type AB. Because of this, he was released. But even after all of this, he did not stop. After that, he targeted 15 more victims. For 7 years, he continued killing women and children. It had become so serious that police were continuously finding bodies and human remains that the city's police department was forced to create a serial murder task force. This task force remained fully active for 6 months, investigating every location where they found evidence. But even after all of this, they found nothing. Andrei Chikatilo was an organized serial killer. Whenever he committed a crime, he tried not to leave evidence behind. He dressed well, he had built a fake personality, and serial killers like this are called organized serial killers. In 1990, at a railway station, police saw a man with bloodstains on his clothes. He had a briefcase in his hand. Inside the briefcase were a knife and a rope. His name was Andrei Chikatilo. Seeing this, the police immediately arrested him. He was interrogated. Chikatilo refused to admit his crimes, but because of forensic evidence and psychological pressure, he eventually confessed. He admitted to 52 murders and personally took police to the locations where he had hidden the bodies of his victims. He buried every body at a specific location. Even after 10 years, he still remembered all of the places where he had buried his victims. In 12 years, he brutally killed 52 people. In 1992, his trial began. Inside the courtroom, he would scream, shout, and abuse people. His lawyer claimed that he was mentally ill, but all of this was a lie. Considering all the evidence, the court sentenced him to death. Then, in 1998, he was taken to a room in Rostov prison. There, he was shot in the head and died. A killer who had brutally murdered 52 children and women was killed with just one bullet. If you look closely at Andrei Chikatilo's life, you will find almost everything. I mentioned at the beginning, his mother was depressed. He was born during a period of starvation. His brother was supposedly eaten by other people. His father had returned from World War II and tortured him and his mother. When he left his home and went to school, he was bullied, he was sexually dysfunctional, and all of these things combined to turn him into the serial killer the world later came to know as the Red Ripper. I will see you all in the next video. Take very good care of yourselves. Remember me in your prayers. Sahil gives you permission. Goodbye.